Good afternoon, good morning, and good night or good evening, wherever you are in the world. Thank you for joining us to one of our centenary webinars today again of ISTA. And today I have got a number of auditors here. The topic is Quality Assurance ISTA Auditors. And as always, this webinar will be presented later on the ISTA YouTube channel. And if you have any questions in between, please use the question and answer box. We try to put the questions directly here. If they are not answered directly, you might get an answer later on these questions. We have it a little bit different. We don't have a real presentation today or presentations from the colleagues present here. But we will have questions and they will answer. Beside the questions, you can put in the question and answer box. For auditors, including that, Florina Pallada. She is agronomist with a master's degree in sustainable agriculture and PhD in agricultural science. She is head of the accreditation and technical department at ISTA since 2015 and an ISTA system and technical auditor. Until now, she has nearly performed 150 ISTA audits. We just talked a few hours ago about that. And as the head of department, her responsibility is to select, train, and monitor the ISTA auditors for ensuring a high quality of the ISTA audits. She works in the seed control sector now for more than 35 years. Florina, you have a little presentation for us, but you could also tell us something probably about your experience, if there's anything to be added. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Andreas. I can add only few information that also my quality assurance experience, it's about 25 years. I'm part of the Executive Committee Accreditation Working Group, and also I'm a lecturer for quality assurance workshops, the system part. And I would like to say that before 2012, when I came to ISTA, I worked in 2 ISTA accredited laboratories, and before being an ISTA auditor, I have been as well audited by the ISTA auditors. And for sure, Joel and Rita will remember this. And now I can start my presentation. I hope you can see my screen.
Yes, we can.
Okay. And also I will start to say hello, everyone. Thank you for being with us for the webinar organized now when we celebrate 100 years of ISTA and also 37 years of ISTA accreditation program. So what I will show you as a first information, how the number of the accredited laboratories progressed in 37 years. We started in 1997 with 1 accredited laboratory, and nowadays, in August 2024, we have 159. And I will also like to say that you will find very interesting articles in the next number of the ISTA STI about the accreditation in general and also about the first ISTA accredited laboratory, Germany 18. Of course, as the number of the accredited laboratories increased, the number of the audits increased, and it was performed every year a number higher than the previous year. In general, we have as an average 50 or a little bit more than 50, with the mention that now in 2024, when we estimate to have at the end of the year 163 accredited laboratories, we have also planned 63 audits in 2024. There were challenges. 2020, 2021, everybody remember how was the pandemic time. In 2020, we were able to perform only 26 audits, but in 2021, we have to equilibrate the number and we performed 71. So this was a challenge for us. Also 2024 is a little challenging as we have to perform 63 audits. We have more ISTA audits, so then we need more ISTA auditors as well. In 2025, there were 17 auditors in total, with 2 ISTA auditors at the Secretariat. In 2024, so 10 years later, there are 26 in total, 3 ISTA auditors at ISTA Secretariat, and we have also the audit administrator. But it's nice to say, and I'm happy to say that 10 auditors from 2015 still in the team performing audits even now. What we have now in 2024, new categories of technical auditors. We have GMO and variety experts 3, GMO expert 1, and seed health expert 1. We have in different stages of training 5 technical auditors and 2 system auditors. So this is the status in 2024. The regional distribution now in August 2024 is good. What you see highlighted in blue are the auditors in training, and with this we will even improve the distribution. And in my last slide, I would like also to say that an ISTA auditor assigned to perform an audit must have the necessary competence. We speak about skills, experience, and knowledge. Experience in managing the technical and the system aspects, experience in quality assurance, training in quality management, knowledge in applying ISTA rules and ISTA accreditation standard, and nevertheless ability to communicate in English, but also the communication skills. Always the system auditor is also the lead auditor. There are steps in becoming an ISTA auditor. The process could take about 2 years, from the initial theoretical training till the exam. If approved, there are cases when we cannot approve a candidate. If approved, we start the monitoring and also the periodical retraining and updates. Before starting to perform audits, all our auditors will sign a confidentiality agreement, a code of conduct, and also the dress code. This was my presentation.
Thank you very much, Florina. I would now like to hand over to the youngest person here in the round, and you were mentioned by Florina actually, because you are an ISTA GMO expert since 2023 and variety since 2024. You belong to the new category, Anniko. You are horticultural engineer specialized in genetics, and Anniko is working as a laboratory analyst at the National Seed Testing Laboratory of Hungary since 2012, and they're responsible for the area where she's also an ISTA expert, variety and GMO testing. Do you have anything to tell us about your experience, background, and things like that, Anniko?
Yes, thank you very much. Welcome, everybody. So as Andres mentioned, I'm a horticultural engineer. During my university studies, I worked for 2 years in a trial about the genetic modification of a herb called Rhodiola rosea. Unfortunately, the modification was not successful, but we developed the micropropagation process of the plant. I enjoyed this initial lab work very well. Unfortunately, after university, I couldn't start work in the lab. I missed 6 years of lab working, but since 2012, I work here in the National Seed Testing Laboratory of Hungary, and I am responsible for GMO and variety testing. At 2021, I participated to an internal auditor and quality management training. From then, I do internal audits in my laboratory's other divisions. And it's very exciting to look at the other areas of this seed testing work to see the standard tests as well. I became an ISTA contracted auditor last year. I did 5 audits so far, and I find this work very exciting and also very challenging. Yeah, the long travelings can mix up the body and the mind as well, so it is hard. And I'm waiting for the new challenges. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I would like to introduce now another lady in the round, Rita Seconelli. Her background is she's an agronomist. She's now retired from a previous job, but was previously head of the seed testing laboratory in Italy for more than 20 years. During that time, she cooperated with ISTA as technical auditors since 2007, quite some time, and then also as a system auditor since 2015. To date, she has carried out and performed more than almost 90 audits, and the collaboration continues. And I would like to add, Rita was also a member of the executive committee of ISTA and is an ISTA honorary life. What are your experience? What can you tell us?
Yeah, thank you, Andreas. To be very precise, until today I performed 61 technical audits and 25 system audits. But I have on my agenda for the very near future some other audits, so I will soon reach the big number of 90, which is a big number. But I've been auditing about 80 laboratories because in some of them I returned a second time, maybe at the first time as technical audit, the second one as system audit. And so these laboratories are spread around across Europe, Asia, Australia, Africa, and North America. I still miss South America, but maybe that it will come, I don't know. My very first technical audit was in 2007 in South Africa, and the first system audit was in 2015, some years later, means in China. So again, a faraway country from my home. So in both cases, I have some question in my mind. Would I be capable to perform a good audit in a country so far away from my country, from home? Would I found maybe procedures or habits or even a way of working so different from the one I knew? And at the end, I discovered that no, it was not such a case, because I could really see that in case of seed testing, there are many more common experts in the laboratory around the world than differences. So I could really witness the uniformity in seed testing evaluation worldwide. I also experienced remote audits during the pandemic time, but not only, also remotely decided to have to be remote for other reasons. And just for a flash, I can share with you an experience. Maybe the first one, no, the second one I had as a remote audit. It was for 3 laboratories located again very far away in Indonesia. And of course, for them, the audit took place in their normal working time. But for me, and also for the colleague working with me, it was really in the middle of the night. So an experience that I would never expect to have never expected to have or to live. Today, I'm still performing audit. I'm very happy to do this. I'm happy because I hope I can be helpful for our other colleagues. I'm happy to contribute to ISTA activities. ISTA has been very important for me in my working career. And also, I think that this is helping me also myself, keeping me active. So this is a short overview of my audit experiences.
Thank you very much, Rita. And last but not least, the only gentleman in the group, Joël Lechappé. His background is in plant and animal biology, and he has a PhD in plant pathology from University of Rennes. Now retired, he has been director of the French National Seed Testing Station for 27 years, member of the executive committee, and was 6 years ISTA president until 2016. He contributes to the quality assurance program of ISTA as a technical auditor and a lecturer in ISTA technical quality assurance workshops. And also here I would like to add, Joel is also an honorary life member of the association. Joel, your experiences.
Thank you, Andreas. Good morning, good afternoon to everybody. I started auditing in 1998 or something like this. That was nearly with the beginning of the ISTA accreditation program. And since then, I contributed to 91 technical audits in probably more than 65 countries. And thanks to the ISTA accreditation department database, very well maintained to remind me of so many audits. I acquired some technical experience as the head of the germination laboratory in the French National Seed Testing Station. I've also been involved at the very beginning in the audits for the French accreditation body, the COFRAC, and I have also been involved in auditing licensed seed company laboratories in the framework of the licensed laboratory for the seed certification scheme in France. I must say that auditing and visiting many ISTA laboratories and countries has provided me a very helpful information and experience when I was an executive committee member and then president, to know better the needs of the laboratories of the countries. That's one of the many fruitful advantages that I have seen being an ISTA technical auditor. But also auditing made me realize that the rules are very rich and it is an endless task to read and to learn the rules. And there are so many detailed, important information in the rules that I couldn't imagine at the beginning, but I'm still learning every time I'm auditing new, important, what I would say, details in the rules. And although sometimes Florina suggested me to apply and to train to be a system auditor, but until now, I still prefer to be a technical auditor, to go into the laboratory, to exchange with the people, and to witness many ways, different ways to implement the same rules and the same standard. That's so interesting to see that and to interact with people. And I must say that sometimes, as Rita said, I feel that I have more in common and more to share with the colleagues in the labs far away from home than with my close neighbors. Thank you.
Thank you very much for all your introduction. Joel, may I continue directly with you as you are online?
Okay.
In your experience as an auditor, what did you find the most challenging things or the best memories you want to share?
Oh, yeah, that could be many, but the first, I would say it's not a challenge, but the first thing is that it's a human experience. And as an auditor, we have to verify that the laboratory is performing according to the rules and to the standard. And to do that, we have to interact with the people. And that is, as I said, the most interesting part of the audits, but also the most challenging. First, interesting, because it's a way of sharing knowledge and experience. And also because We meet very enthusiastic and motivated people. And personally, I think it's a source of energy. But of course, it's very challenging sometimes. First, because of the language, the culture, which is different, environment, including the climate. It's auditing, and I think for technical audits, is also a physical challenge because of the travel, time difference, and also moving into the laboratory 8 or 10 hours from sampling to testing and reporting, etc. But the greatest challenge for me is probably to try and get the best from the audit for the benefit of the laboratory. As example, to make sure to understand the logic behind the practice of a lab, the logic in accordance to the ISTA rules and the standard, and that is often different from the practice I was used to in my lab. And as auditors, we have to adapt that labs can implement the rules in different ways from what we know. Maybe you said memories. I can just give maybe two memories. One to show how it is important to adapt the audit to the local environment. That was in Egypt, long time ago, in Gizeh, that's the pyramids area. And as, let's say, a new or young auditor, I ask a classic question: how do you make sure that you will not run short of germination substrate? Talking about sand, and a nice man in charge of supplying the sand just turned around, showing outside, and he said, "We have the desert." So I never forgot the lesson. We need to adapt the question. The second memory, we were auditing the seed storage in a lab. And I asked classical question: how do you control insects and rodents? And just a cat was passing by, very proud of himself, like a cat. And the laboratory just replied, "We have cats." Then, as auditor, I asked, "Can you please show me the training and qualification records of the cat?" So this is the spirit of auditing, ask for evidence. Thank you.
Thank you, Joel. Maybe Rita, with all your experience, we can add something to that as well. I think you're muted,
Yes.
Rita. No. Okay.
Oh, sorry.
No, it's okay.
Okay. So about the challenges, I think that one challenge, at least for me, it's often the language. I mean, how to say? So the interpreters not always knows very well the technical words, for example, terminology, for example. Sometimes I had the impression that the translation was not really 100% faithful. So in any case, the need of translation make the audit longer, and yeah, and also the exchange between the auditor and the auditee at least less, I would say, spontaneous, less easy. So, but okay, for me, another challenge was, especially at the beginning when I started with the system audits, was to audit laboratory systems based only on digital documents and record in a language that I don't know. So this was also something very challenging. But I have to say that also in this case, the experience then makes you a little bit more, how to say, more able to face this kind of things. About memories, I have many memories. I just want to remember my very first audit in South Africa. At the end of the audit day, I was very happy because the audit was, I thought, good. but the laboratory people to thank the auditor decided to sing a beautiful Zulu song that I really liked a lot. So this is in my mind, really, even if it was so many years ago. This is one of the many good memories I have.
Thank you very much, Rita. I would like to ask Anniko now, who's younger, and maybe her experiences are going more back, or the challenges are going more back to your training time. What were the challenges during your training? Do you remember? You're also muted, and we cannot hear you.
Okay, I think I'm on. So yes, my training was maybe longer than some others, but COVID did not help in this process. As the first step in 2019, I was part of the variety testing workshop for auditors that focused on DNA-based methods. We have received presentations about the theoretical and practical aspects of DNA-based methods in variety testing, about the implementation of ISTA rules in performing tests using semi and performance-based approach. The auditors also discussed the requirements to be fulfilled by the laboratories in the means of technical practices, the documents, the trainings, and what the auditors must check and evaluate as critical points during the on-site assessment. I remember this workshop very well. I found it very interesting, and it was a very inspiring session. After this workshop, I had trainings about every aspect what auditors need to know. I got even more familiar with the details of the ISTA rules, the accreditation standard, and the principles of auditing. All the procedures auditors must follow via the whole audit process, from the planning to the final audit report, and how to deal with the so how to evaluate the corrective actions, and how to finalize the whole process. In a way, the most difficult part was for me to assign each non-conformity the requirements of the ISTA accreditation standard, and to rate the non-conformities, whether that is a substantial, a non-substantial, or a recommendation. It sounds a bit silly, but it's a hard task, in my opinion. I would like to say a special thank you to Florina Palada, who supported and encouraged me via the whole training and approval process. Without you, Florina, I would not be here. During my previous audits, I've been supported very much, both by the technical auditors and the system auditors. I would like to say thank you to them as well. So yeah, to be an ISTA auditor, and so it takes time to learn how to behave in all these situations.
Yeah, thank you very much, Anniko. I have another question, which is probably going to Joelle. It is concerning a little bit what Anniko said. It's challenging to perform the audits, and there are challenges, but did you observe over the long time you're doing this job changes in audit techniques which came up, and what are your how do you see the benefits of it?
Yeah, thank you, Andreas. First, I would like to say to Nico also and to everybody that all the challenges that the new auditors have to face, we still have to face them after many years. Maybe in a different way, but an audit is always a series of challenges, and it's very demanding, but very interesting, but still demanding. And it's we cannot just rely on the many audits we have performed. Every audit is a new challenge. Regarding precisely your question about the changes in audit technique, I would say on one hand, the audits are nearly the same compared to the very beginning. On the other hand, I would say they are very different. The same because it's referring to a standard. We are checking the same kind of tests, which are the basic tests, but there have been many changes. I can just mention a few of them. I'm sure Rita could mention many more. One, just an example, it's not exhaustive. One of the changes is regarding sampling, for instance. Sampling on the lot was part of the audits from the beginning, but just a small, let's say a small part. But it's now a very important part of the audit. And since entities can be accredited for sampling only, sampling has become a very important part and can also be audited separately from the testing. Another example is the use of guidelines on audit checklists that did not exist at the very beginning. So they have been created by the accreditation department, and it's really helpful for both the auditors and for the auditees, of course, because they are audited based on the same kind of checklists. I would like to mention also the SharePoint database that facilitates the communication between the laboratories, the accreditation department, and the auditors, and it has changed quite efficiently the way to audit or to prepare the audits, because when talking about auditing, the preparation of audits and the follow-up of audits are also very important parts of the process. And more recently, the introduction of new technologies into the rules brings also a different way to audit them during the audits. So that's also a change. And every time there is a change in the rules or in the standards, we have to adapt as auditors. And there are many more that I'm sure Rita will mention.
Yeah, Rita, if you want to add something to that, and maybe also, do you think that these audit techniques are more on a personal level, or do they give general improvements? Is it more personally or general improvement which you find there?
So if I totally agree with Joel. When I'm the system auditor and I open the opening meeting, I always used to say something that is, so the word audit, that should be pronounced audit and not audit, comes from the Latin word audire, and audire in Latin means listening. So the first task of an auditor is to listen to what the auditee, the laboratory staff in our case, wants to communicate. But of course, we cannot stop to this. We must go further and gather evidence, observe demonstration that are proving what has been explained by voice. So this has not changed, if you want. This is the core of the audit and did not change over time. But how to implement this, I think, changed. Of course, it has changed because for each one of us, because of our personal experience, but it's changed also because we have a very strong link, and we have a strong communication with the accreditation department, within the group of auditors. So something that also has changed, that I can already, Joël already mentioned many aspects that are very important. I can add that also I saw, for example, we have been giving much more importance compared to the past to the pre-audit assessment, so to the documents and some records sometimes. And of course, something that also should be mentioned is about the remote auditing. It was good. Of course, in this case, we had to, I don't know if invent is the right word, but really to restart a lot of work and to work on the techniques more and more in a different way, let's say, compared to the auditing person. And I think that it was good that when the horrible pandemic came to and changed our life for a couple of years, we already had an experience on remote auditing that was decided for different reasons, for security reasons. So it was good to have already that experience in our recent history. So yeah, to answer to your second question about the personal level or general level, I think that both are very important. And of course, also the new colleagues that are joining us in the group are bringing new experience or new knowledge or a new way to also to face and to respond to answer to questions or so. So I think that both levels are very important. So the general and the personal one.
Yeah, Rita, you talked about new colleagues, and you have worked with new colleagues you just mentioned. Have you participated also in training and approval of new colleagues?
Yes, I did. I've been working with new young, or not so young, but in any case new colleagues several times in participating at the same meeting or at the same I don't know, workshop or something like that, but also in real audits. In that case, it was the new colleague was participating as an observer, and and so it was a training, if you want, experience for them or for him or for her. The final decision about the approval is not in the hand of us as contracted auditors. It is in the hands of the ISTA technical, the ISTA accreditation department. But of course, we as contracted auditor, we can contribute. If we are asked to do that, we are happy to do. At least I'm happy to do this. So yeah, having new colleagues in the group is something very important. Because the collaboration with young and experienced, I don't say old, auditors is something that can be very positive for both, for the young and for the experienced one. And I think it's something very important for the sustainability of the system in the future. So it's something to be, how to say, to work on.
Maybe Joël, you can add a few words to that as well.
Yes, well, I can't say better than what Rita said, but I can confirm that it's very interesting to work with new colleagues, and they have fresh training, new approaches, new questions, and training or evaluating new colleagues for auditing makes also looking and questioning our own practice. And that leads to personal evolutions as well. So that's very interesting. So there are many ways that it's a benefit for everybody, of course, to have new colleagues. And I also participated in training people more generally in QA, participating in QA workshops as a lecturer.
Anniko, you are, as we know, the youngest auditor here in the group. After your initial training, did you participate in other training initiatives for auditors?
Yes, I participated in 2 workshops. One was about GMO testing with special attention to the statistical aspects and the implementation of the performance-based approach. Here I heard some lectures from Joel, as I can remember, and the other one was the auditors workshop last December. This workshop had several topics. For example, there was a discussion about the changes of the ISTA rules, and we had a very detailed and long and active training on metrology and risk assessment, which will be a new topic in the ISTA accreditation. So it was very useful and very interesting. I learned a lot, and when I arrived home and started to work on the risk assessment part of my laboratory, I had several questions, and I still have several questions in this topic. And I try to watch the ISTA webinars that I organize regularly. They are very interesting as well.
Yeah, may I give that question also to Rita? Your initial audit or initial training is some time ago, but I think there were a lot of other training initiatives in between.
You want me to answer?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. Let's say that, yeah, annually we have always an auditors meeting during the annual meeting. So this is an occasion where for maybe not all, but most of the auditor is also it's also possible to meet in person. That is always much more, how to say, much better than on remote or remotely. But in this occasion, we are all updated about the situation, but also on the table we can have some topics for discussions. And yes, in the past we had, and the same more and more during the year, but we started many years ago. It's very common to discuss by email, for example, about a study case, something that arose during an audit. So that is, so every auditors can express his or her opinion about that, and at the end the aim is to reach a common understanding on this, and of course to communicate it to the laboratory, but also for ourselves to be aware, yeah, in future occasions. And what else? What I forget? I think that yeah, as let's say the structured events were more frequent in the last, I would say, 10 years maybe, or 8 years, but from the very beginning we could have a very frequent and good communication to discuss singular cases or general topics.
Thank you very much. I have actually a question to Joel. You told us about, and I know that story about the sand in Egypt. Have you ever faced things where you had doubts of the correct application of the ISTA rules, for example, and how did you act in these cases?
Oh, yeah, many times I have to face doubt about the rules. That's where the simplest way is on the spot to go and read the rules into details together with the lab. But when we cannot solve the question on the doubt, there is a very well-organized process. First, on the audit checklist, there is a specific area where we can report on the doubt and questions regarding the rules or any other items where we have a doubt. And then we forward the question to the accreditation department, to Florina. And Florina and the department have very well organized and are monitoring in a very professional way the way to answer the doubts on any questions, but regarding the rules, it can be first discussed among the auditors, as Rita said, by email, or it can be forwarded to the relevant technical committees or to the rules committee. And sometimes it may also be forwarded and discussed in the executive committee working group on accreditation to make a decision or to give some advices. As an example, last year, I had a question about reporting test results on ISTA certificates, depending on the language, using a comma or a dot. Using a dot in English has not the same meaning as a dot in German or French. And sometimes it was mixed. So the question was discussed among the auditors, even during the workshop in Poznan. And it has been discussed with the rules committee, with the technical committees, all monitored by Florina. And finally, it was submitted to the executive accreditation working group, and a decision was made. So the process is very well organized, I would say, and it's very common to have questions and doubts about the rules. And quite often, it ends up in a rule improvement and a rule change the year after. Florina, maybe you have more to add on this point. That's a point that you are leading.
You want to add something, Florina? You're muted. I will unmute you. I'll try my very best.
Thank you. First of all, I would like to point few aspects. So we are open for proposals from the auditors as colleagues and also from the laboratories, audited laboratories or non-accredited laboratories as well. We have transparency and we have respect for all. From this is coming the team spirit. And I will really like to give my thanks to all colleagues, ISTA auditors, audited laboratories, and nevertheless to the colleagues from the ISTA Secretariat. So everybody contribute to this team spirit and to do things better and to improve. Always when I had a doubt or one of us, we had a doubt, we had really professional discussions. And this is for me, I think, the most important let's say, characteristics of our team. I'm proud of our team. We have challenges, but it's always a way to have the right answer, the correct answer, and in time.
Yeah, thank you very much, Florina, for the addition. I have two questions, and then I have two questions from the audience for you, Florina. Maybe first to Anniko, how does it feel to be an ISTA contracted auditor for you now?
I'm very proud, and it's an honor to be the part of the ISTA auditor team. I seek to be a responsible part of this professional community. I find that this work gives a very good opportunity to progress both in profession and in personality as well. And yeah, I'm happy to be able to do that and to have the chance to do this work. It's very good.
Thank you on that. And a last question, which can only be answered by Rita, is the question, you have experienced both system and technical auditor. What do you think about the different roles? Joel, you cannot answer because you told us before that you don't want to be a system auditor, only a technical one. So I have to pass that one to Rita.
Yeah, thank you, Andreas. I think that in my, let's say, in my experience, there are the different. One is the most relevant. The most relevant is that in case of the technical component, we have the rules. As Joel said, and I agree totally with him, every laboratory can apply the rule with some differences, can have a different procedure to apply the rule, but at the end, a rule is a rule. So if you have to perform a seed purity test on Medicago sativa, you have to perform it on a working sample of minimum 5 grams. Or in case of Lolium multiflorus, the 6 grams. If you have to sample, you have to decide about the sampling intensity, the minimum sampling intensity for a certain seed lot, you have the rules, and this is written there. In case of the standard, it is not the same. We don't have rules. The standard does not give a rule. The standard give, if you want a principle or a requirement that must be fulfilled, but the standard does not say to you how to do it or when to do it. Let's take the example. A standard say the laboratory must have a procedure to handle non-compliance works. Okay, so, but it doesn't say to you how to do this, the time frame, or who should do this, where the responsibility are for which person in the laboratory. So the task of the auditor in this case is to is at first to see if there is a written procedure for that. Okay, so if this written procedure is enough detail saying about who should do what and when and how, if you want, and then the least but not last but not least, the auditor's task is also to see if the laboratory is implementing in the daily practice what they have decided and written down, and if it is effective, actually effective. So I think that this is the most important difference between the two kind of audits. I had to say that I started later with system audits, so now I found them more interesting because of this, also because they are not so new anymore for me, but newer than the technical ones. I can add that for both kind of audits, an auditor coming from a laboratory must forget what she or he is doing or was doing in my case at his or her laboratory, because really there are different ways to apply a rule or to fulfill a requirement. But for the system part component, this is even more true and more relevant.
Yeah. Thank you very much. And I would like to pass, we are quite over time a little bit, but these two questions I would like to pass on to Florina. One was about, do you think that one day we could skip the internal audit? We must do the same year as the external audit.
I don't really understand the question. We have the requirement of the accreditation standard that the internal audit must be performed and must cover the system and the technical aspects in total in 1 year. I can give more details if I receive an email with more information to give the correct answer and the right one.
And you can contact Florina on her email, which is on the website.
Yes, please, and I will give the complete answer. Yeah. And
another one, how do you see continuous improvement, as this is not often, almost never audited during external ISTA audits?
Continuous improvement in the understanding of our accreditation standard is the point 1010, and we help the laboratories to have a continuous improvement giving recommendation. This is our way we work down. And from the beginning, from the opening meeting, we inform the auditees that also taking out the substantial or the non-substantial non-conformities, we can give them also recommendation. Recommendations can be considered or not, depending on the laboratories. But continuous improvement, may come now even from the corrective actions. It may come from the preventive actions, and we have risk assessment. The risk assessment could be also transformed in opportunities, meaning continuous improvement. Maybe as a topic, it's not so specified. Now we are going to audit the continuous improvement aspects, but you can we can point in several areas, the system and also the technical part.
Thank you very much. You see me coming back. I think it was a very interesting topic today, and it was presented in a different way than we normally had our webinars, also the centenary webinars. I thank all of you, Florina, Rita, Anniko, and Joel, for your participation here. If there are more questions coming up, you can contact either Florina or via the ISTA email audit@ista.ch, and you might get answers, or you will get answers on that. What I would like to inform you on again is that this session is recorded and can be watched again on the ISTA YouTube channel, and I kindly ask everybody to subscribe to that YouTube channel. The next one is on September 10, same time as today, with the topic seed certification, and we have as an external guest here Csaba Gaspar. He's section head at OECD Seed Schemes. So his job is, his daily job is seed certification. We have Greta Tarp, who worked quite some years in that area, is also an ISTA Honorary Life member, and Ernest Allen from USDA and ISTA Vice President. Thank you very much. I think we used up the time quite well. And thank you again to all the participants and all people online. Thank you. Goodbye.
Goodbye. Goodbye.